This is the controversial case of the YouTuber or influencer Rodolfo Marquez, or Fofo Marquez as he is better known, who continues to give something to talk about in the midst of controversies and false rumors that have frequently fueled social networks with waves of indignation due to alleged economic arrangements, and possibility of freedom for this subject after a brutal attack committed by him against a 52-year-old woman. At this point in the case, we all know his name, but for those who don't, the victim would respond to the name of Edith, a noble woman who demands justice for the brutal attack on her person. Stay with us until the end of the video because today I will update you on everything related to this case. But not before reminding you that if you like our content and want to support us, subscribe, give your like, and activate the notification bell, because your support is what keeps this research project alive. Now, without anything else to say, let's continue. We quickly begin this video talking about rumors seen in recent weeks that have caused outrage and are related to the supposed release of Fofo Marquez. Short videos and reels have been seen on various social media platforms showing influencers coming out of jail and being very happy, although let me tell you before you get upset that these images are false. Fofo Marquez remains detained, waiting for his trial to continue this May. However, if this is true, where did those videos come from? Well, it turns out that the self-proclaimed rich boy is not the first prison he has visited, or at least the first time he has been detained. You see, there was a previous time, and this occurred in the year 2022. The influencer is currently being held in the Barrientos prison for attempted feminicide. He had already been detained in previous years, where he even, and in his words, thought about taking his own life after spending around 72 hours in detention, as it is clear that he did not know what awaited him. You see, if he has had continuity in this case, you will know that Rodolfo Marquez Jr., or Fofo Marquez as he is also known, is currently detained in the Tlalnepantla Penitentiary Center for Social Reintegration, also known as the Barrientos prison, since last Friday, April 5th. The influencer faces a legal process for attempted femicide after hitting a woman in a parking lot in Naucalpan and is awaiting the second hearing of the case. However, as we said previously, this is not the first time that the Mexican influencer has been arrested, as let us remember that in 2022, he also confronted the authorities after closing the bridge in Matuteremos de Guadalajara without permission and with the sole objective of recording a video for his YouTube channel or a 13-second TikTok, which also attracted certain unwanted looks on him, such as the attention of the Jalisco Nueva Generacion Cartel, which was not amused that this son of a daddy, as many refer to him, he closed the vehicular circulation route after spending around 72 hours in the Barrientos prison. He was released under certain conditions that included community work and a donation to a children's home. And as soon as the influencer was released on that occasion, he moved to his house, and the first thing he did was tell his experience on YouTube. You know, the views. Anyway, the influencer Fofo Marquez confessed that on that occasion, when he was arrested in 2022 after having closed the bridge, he thought about taking his life because he no longer wanted to be there. He even claims that he felt very depressed. And during all that time, he missed the comforts in which he lives. I saw 30 ways to leave because I couldn't stand being there anymore. And the currency there is cigarettes, candy, miscellaneous. You live like a caveman there. If I was there for a few days, imagine people being given a life sentence, 2 or 3 years. Don't do that. Behave well. Nicole was influential on that occasion, and yet here we see it 2 years later. After this cowardly attack, imagine what will happen to the self-determined rich boy if in the past spending 72 hours in jail after closing the bridge killed Toremos, made him think about suicide. Imagine now that he faces the possibility of facing a sentence that could range from 13 to 48 years in prison. On the other hand, another of the things that frightens Marquez is the welcome they give to those new to the prisons. Because when it was announced that he would be imprisoned in the Barrientos prison in the state of Mexico while his trial for attempted murder, Marquez panicked. Upon hearing the news, social networks have begun to speculate about the possible reception that the influencer will have upon his arrival at the prison, since there are rumors that prison inmates often commit acts, let's say, violence against the newcomers, actions that are known as welcome, which is why in the first instance, Marquez urged his lawyers to do everything possible to get him out of there. Although there are many rumors that circulate about what these welcomes are like and what they consist of, Some testimonies can be found on social networks that can give an idea about what Fofo Marquez could find during his stay in prison, for example, in a video that circulated of a welcome in a cherry tree in Puebla. It was seen how prisoners who assaulted women were forced to kiss each other, on the other hand, in an interview conducted by the YouTube channel Esquivalito Vlogs. An inmate narrated a little of his experience. And in fact, I quote it, "They undressed me, they made me do squats. Everyone wanted to eat you when you arrived. When there were no police officers, they pulled 4 fingerprints on me." The testimony narrated that they stripped him of his clothes because they assured him that he was worth a lot of money, and they threatened him with a knife that they made inside the prison. There, he was already in the module. The guard was no longer there, declared the person interviewed. According to what circulates on social networks about some inmates' testimonies, the level of welcome in the different prisons depends largely on the crimes for which the person has been detained, as well as the repudiation that the inmates may feel toward newcomer. It is worth mentioning that recently Salinas Pliego issued a comment through his shady "It Would Be a Ring" nicknamed the 7 Batteries that is rumored to have welcomed Sergio Andrade when he was arrested in 2000. Some point out that after that act, the music producer was transferred to the infirmary in very bad conditions. Although this was never proven and they are just rumors, some point out that he could have suffered rape as punishment for his actions with girls. Fofo Marquez knows about these, and during his hearings it was proven, since he himself showed bruises due to the beatings that, according to him, he suffered. They would have given to the prisoners, which is why he requested to be isolated. This expression of fear and despair was stopped last Thursday, after the videos of the YouTuber hitting a woman went viral in February in the parking lot of a shopping center in Nuevo Calpan, state of Mexico, in the audience. This Wednesday in the Barrientos prison, he said he feared for his life. He reported that he was beaten and that he has been isolated for 3 days. So his defense and took measures to protect him. Of course, I am concerned about the integrity of Mr. Rodolfo Marquez. Of course, I am concerned. And the judge was also concerned about the same situation. And that is why the judge gave instructions. At the hearing, he said that he would be incapable of murdering someone and acknowledged that he did not act correctly on the day of the attack. His reaction upon learning the judge's determination was one of regret and desperation. He even offered to get on his knees to be hit by the women in the room in his attempt to avoid preventive detention, said he preferred an electric chair rather than going to jail. Well, the truth is, when you see it, well, yes, it is sad. I am a mother. It was difficult. It was difficult to listen to it. The YouTuber's defense has tried to have the crime reclassified to intentional injuries, and they deny that this implies letting him go free. There was a lot of uncertainty in society that if they reclassified the crime, Rodolfo Marquez would be free, and that is not the case. At all times, Fofo seemed nervous and was shaking. He even had an anxiety attack and asked permission to hug his mother. The victim hopes there will be justice, even though his attacker claims to be very influential. It is a person who says that she is a millionaire and that at the end of the day, well, if you feel afraid, I will tell you again, because if I am afraid, if it was not easy to make the decision because I knew well with the person with whom I was going to report him. After the YouTuber was linked to processes on social networks, a video was made public in which he confessed to having beaten a police officer in the United States, where he feared he would end up behind bars. Here in the United States, it is not like in Mexico that you do it and nothing happens to you. After what happened with this YouTube gem, at that hearing, various rumors began to circulate that Fofo Marquez had reached a kind of monetary agreement with the victim, Mrs. Edith, so that he would drop the charges and in a certain way compensate for the damage caused. Because the speculation was loud on the networks, the YouTuber's legal representative gave an interview to Milenio where he declared the true situation of his representative and explained why he is not BLE an economic agreement between both parties. I will proceed to show you the statements of Marquez's defense attorney. Mr. Fofo Marquez carried out an act that must be punished. It is clear to me, it is clear to you, and it is clear to society and the authorities. But he has to be punished for the act he committed, not for the person he is, or who he was, or for what he did in the past. He has to be punished for what happened that day, February 22nd. Defend the indefensible. I have seen it published 1,000 times. I defend legality and due process. I repeat, the man must be judged by what he did, not by what he is. And I'm going to defend that. And that honors me as a lawyer. Defending legality is the least I can do as a lawyer. Let's talk about the letter that Mrs. Sandra wrote. This is not legal strategy. The letter will have no impact on the criminal procedure. That letter makes no difference in the procedure either for or against. The accusation is very serious. Fofo Marquez is being accused of attempted feminicide. Forgiveness is not applicable. Reparation agreements are not applicable. There are no alternative solutions. What he intends for this crime is for him to pay a corporal punishment where he is practically risking his life. So a little letter is not going to solve the matter. But let's see how broken we have to be as a society that when a mother asks for forgiveness, people start saying things and getting upset as if she were being something hateful. Let's see, gentlemen, the letter is authentic, and what the lady said is from the heart. Let's talk about the case and its solution. And here's something I want to make clear to you. Complex cases have complex solutions. This is so that they also stop those speculations. It will take 3 months and it will be resolved. Surely this is going to be the lawyer. Surely this is going to be the lawyer. Complex cases have complex solutions. There is no path and there is no established route. There are several ways to attack this problem, this issue. And it's not just one, there are several. Therefore, I don't know how long it will last. What I do know is that it will take a while to resolve the situation. And resolving the situation, I repeat, does not mean impunity. And let's talk about the audience. What topics were discussed at the hearing? What was discussed at the hearing? We were debating exactly 3 points at the hearing, and we debated them for 4 hours. A team of agents from the Public Ministry of Legal Security and I, as a defender, spent 4 hours debating 3 points. The first point had to do with the attempt. It is obvious. Naturally, I have to defend that point. The external cause that prevented Rodolfo from consummating the crime of femicide, that was the debate. We discussed the endangerment of the protected legal property, whether life had been endangered or life had not been endangered. And we analyzed this. You're going to say if life was put in danger because a car passed by, if life was put in danger because a blow from one person can kill another. Well, all of that was discussed at the hearing. Also, the issue of gender violence. Yes, Rodolfo did indeed hit her for being a woman, and that's what we were analyzing. Well, the debate was so tough that the judge had to recess the hearing for more than 15 hours. When the law establishes that the maximum time that the judge can take to determine a legal situation like this is 2 hours, imagine how difficult it is for the judge to make a decision that took 15 hours. For me, it is unprecedented. I have never seen a judge take so long to resolve in any hearing. I trust fully, but completely in the judicial authorities. Just because the judge has determined one way does not mean that that is the last word. This procedure takes stages and does not mean that it is right or wrong. It means that it is an interpretation that she gave it, that it is valid, and that it will pass several filters. It is not that it was a war between two families. The families, in fact, they realize, are not fighting among themselves. The victim's family is a very decent family. I saw them in the hearings, people who behave in a very decent way. Rodolfo's family also behaved impeccably when they were at the hearings. There is no war. There is no clash of families. There are simply people here who are suffering on both sides. The families of both sides are sorry for the events that occurred, and we must have a humanistic vision of these cases. I, gentlemen, do not defend impunity. I defend and am honored to defend the legality of a procedure. More words, less words. Lawyer Eric Rauda explained that at this point in the process, it is not possible to propose an economic agreement because it goes against legal matter. And a reparatory agreement is not appropriate as an alternative solution in a case of attempted feminicide. Therefore, what they are trying to do is change the type of crime that Rodolfo Marquez is accused of. That is, avoid being tried for the charge of attempted feminicide. However, the efforts of Marquez's defense were in vain. In the first hearing of the case, the control judge of the judiciary of the state of Mexico found sufficient elements to link the content creator to the process despite the efforts of her legal team to have the legal process accredited as injuries. A few days ago, Mrs. Edith gave an interview to a YouTube channel where she revealed unpublished aspects about the arrest of Rodolfo Marquez, the participation of her partner, Melanie Lazante, in the incident, and the strategy that the prosecutor's office of the state of Mexico has drawn up to seek a 40-year prison sentence for Marquez. Furthermore, also in an interview with journalist Ines Moreno, Edith explained that when she filed the complaint, the prosecutor's office found elements to prove the case as attempted feminicide and made the first important decision in her defense. According to what Edith reported, she obtained 2 audiovisual videos to prove her complaint, which were not broadcast to prevent Rodolfo from fleeing.